Hi. How can you tell if a person's alcoholic? So, you see a guy on the phone on the side of the highway with his car. The hood is lifted and it's smoking. The guy's on the phone. You stop to help the guy and you say, "Is that AAA on the phone? Is that you calling a tow truck or a mechanic?" And he says, "No, I'm calling the suicide hotline." He might be an alcoholic. You see two alcoholics in a U-Haul. What's that called? What do you call two alcoholics in a U-Haul? A second date? Hi, I'm James. I am an alcoholic. I am in recovery and I am grateful. On this channel, I live stream every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on alcoholism, addiction, and everything in between. If this brings value to you or a loved one, hit the thumbs up and think about joining. Tonight we're going to be talking about why don't non-alcoholic people understand alcoholic people and vice versa. Right off the rip, my personal answer would be, right off the top, would be it defies logic. Alcoholism defies logic. Another answer might lead to some conclusions, might be that non-alcoholic people recognize alcohol as a jovial thing. It's good, it's fun. Well, this person just can't control themselves around it. I can. Why can't they? Hey, what's up, Noah? How's things? Did you go to another AA meeting today? I just got a message from someone, another viewer that went to their first AA meeting ever. Said they felt like they were in the right place. Alcohol use disorder, alcoholism, alcohol addiction, alcohol dependence, drinking problem. What's the difference between all these terms? An analogy I like to use is two people are out to eat. They're at the dinner table. The kitchen in the restaurant catches on fire. One person gets up, starts for the door. The next chugs his glass of wine and reaches across the table and chugs the other person's glass of wine and then heads for the door. They get outside and the one person was like, "Why in the world did you drink the wine before running for your life?" And that person was like, "Because it was there." They can't understand each other. You know what I mean? Oh, everything AA. Good for you, man. Reading the big book. Excellent, brother. You're not disappointing me. Ryan, hello. Good title. It's weird. Me being sober for 3 months now, I look back and I can't really understand why and how alcohol controlled me. But when I was drinking it, I totally understood. Yeah, that's the other thing, is even us alcoholics really don't get it. As a matter of fact, unless we're deeply immersed in the consequences of, we don't really get. Sometimes we forget why we stopped drinking and just start drinking again. And by sometimes, I mean almost every time. Without AA, we don't have the reminders of why we stopped drinking. Even I, with a coma in my history and jails and many hospital visits, scars up and down my body, each of them has a different drinking story. I have went back. I have all but forgotten why. And denial is not just a river in Egypt. It'll have you drinking again. Because maybe I wasn't an alcoholic. I just stopped for 6 months. Well, one of the most difficult things to understand is, how am I still an alcoholic if I haven't drank in 6 months, a year, 8 years? If it weren't for relapse and the progression of, then I wouldn't believe it either. In fact, it wouldn't be so. That's why it takes a relapse or two sometimes, because it defies all logic. What do you mean I can't drink alcohol? I'll prove you wrong. I have power. I have willpower. Why would I not have power over alcohol? Well, I don't know. Physicians don't know. Psychologists don't know. But there are two types of people on earth, the alcoholic and the non-alcoholic. And it's also a spectrum, and it's also progressive. So in your 20s, you may have drank with somewhat impunity, maybe your 30s, but in your 40s, you're faced with DUIs, broken homes, and concussions and falling down and stuff. It's progressive. Noah says that's what was happening to me. I would go back to one beer and then followed day jugging a beer, and then the very next day jugging 3, and so on. Right, I could have one beer right now. It's not impossible. It is my choice. Just because no one is saying the alcoholic can't drink. Well, I mean, I'll say that. But no one's going to tell you what to do in Alcoholics Anonymous. They're not going to tell you not to drink. That's not how it works. You don't have a team of people making sure you don't drink. You can drink. It is up to you. But what we find is it's impossible. It is impossible to drink successfully, end quote, like normal, end quote, people. The non-alcoholic will be, I've heard it way too many times. Why can't you just go easy on the booze? I don't know, man. I don't know. And if I had trouble accepting it, then there for sure people that don't have problems with alcohol surely have problems accepting it. And it goes so far as just, they will say, you don't have a problem, just go easy on the booze. And it makes me just want to be like, oh, okay. I didn't think of that. I didn't think maybe I shouldn't just drink all of the booze. Oh, okay. So I've tried drinking 2, 3, and I've successfully done so. And then, like you just put it, Noah, it might not happen the next day. It might not happen the day after that. But soon, there will be a blacked out drunk in my near future. A non-alcoholic asked me one time, are you telling me you won't take a drink for $1 million? And I told him, yeah, if you give me $1 million, I'll take a drink. And then I'll take my $1 million and I'll go make fun of you at an AA meeting. Because, look, non-alcoholics still, even non-alcoholic people experience problems with drinking too much. If they accidentally, or maybe their alcoholic friend was buying way too many shots or something, and they but there is a difference, and that is a powerlessness over alcohol. That's what the alcoholic experiences. And a physical allergy that produces the phenomenon of craving. Now, this is beyond belief, even for this alcoholic. What do you mean a physical allergy? I told that to an old timer and he said, yeah, I'm allergic to alcohol. When I drink, I break out in handcuffs. He was serious. Here are the signs you might have a problem with alcohol. Number 1, check yourself. Are you wondering whether your drinking is on the high side of normal? If it crosses into a line into a problem, think back in the past year. If any of the following scenarios seem familiar, it might take time to make changes. It might be time to make some changes. You drink more than planned. You've had times when you ended up drinking more than you thought you would, or for longer than you were going to. It may not seem like a big deal if it only happens once in a while, but that shows you have trouble controlling yourself while drinking, and that's an early warning sign. Or you may be powerless over alcohol. People don't like that word. What they don't realize is admitting powerless, becoming aware of it, is power. It's knowledge which is power to be applied. Ryan says, my last relapse, I drank 1 beer and went a week without. Then had a couple. Next thing you know, I thought it was a good idea to buy 24. And that's my experience too. And people might come at you when you tell them that story and they might say, well, next time don't drink 24. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful. It just is. Even physicians, if you've read the doctor's opinion, Noah, in the book, the doctor's opinion is in the very beginning. It's a physician testifying that it's a physician testifying the power of the cunning, baffling, and powerful effect alcohol has on alcoholics. You spend a lot of time on drinking. We're not talking about just the time with a glass or a can or a bottle in your hand. There's also getting the alcohol, feeling sick after you drink, recovering from the effects later. Keep track of all your activities in the daily diary or a schedule planner for a few weeks and take an honest look at how it all adds up. Your tolerance has gone up. The usual doesn't have much of an effect on you anymore. You need to drink more than before just to get the buzz you want. Your brain adapts to alcohol over time and can be less sensitive to its effects. Here's another thing. Alcoholics don't understand non-alcoholics. That scenario I was talking about with the 2 people, each with a glass of wine, the kitchen catches on fire, the one person stands up, runs for the door, turns around, the other person is drinking both glasses of wine and grabbing the bottle before he leaves. So I'm that guy. Let's say the other person is a non-alcoholic. They get outside and I'm drinking the bottle. The other person's worried about the fire. I'm still thinking about alcohol. That person can't understand how I am obsessed with the alcohol when there's a fire going on. I can't understand how that person left their drink on the table. For the life of me, I can't understand it. I'll watch movies and the guy will be like, drink? And the protagonist, the actor, will be like, no, I'm good. I'll say out loud, why the hell wouldn't you have a drink? Why wouldn't you have a drink? You're not an alcoholic, you might as well have a drink. Well, non-alcoholics sometimes will have a drink and sometimes they won't. I will always have a drink. And I don't understand how non-alcoholics can turn a drink down. I tell non-alcoholics, drink a couple for me. I can't drink, drink a couple for me. I hope you have enough. If you're drinking them for me, you better have at least a 30 rack and maybe a bottle of vodka. Ryan says, in my mind, I actually thought I could have a 24 and just pick away at it for a couple weeks. One here, maybe two, but hell no. I probably drank the 24 tall boys in 2 days and had to go get some more. Right. It's cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it will lie to you in your own voice. I heard an old timer say one time he finally figured out the answer to give people when they ask him why did he relapse again. And his answer, after years of experience, was, I lied to myself and believed it. I lied to myself and believed it. I also look at those same people on Mad Men or the tumbler of bourbon that people will drink on TV or movies, and I'll say to myself, or I used to, I know better now. And it takes all of us different time to learn, but I used to say to myself, yeah, I think if I get a cocktail glass and I get some fancy ice and I buy the most top shelf bourbon, I could keep it in, a liquor cabinet and just have a liquor cabinet. I have not once in my entire life had a liquor cabinet. I have not once had liquor or beer in my house for a sustained amount of time. Non-alcoholics don't get that. I personally don't get how someone can have a liquor cabinet in their house and not be drinking it. Oh, this bottle's 20 years old. That bottle wouldn't have lasted 20 minutes. This is the truth. It's no joke. It's the truth. But yeah, Ryan, I can resonate with that. The lies we tell ourselves, and none of them work out. We are literally powerless over alcohol. It's the first drink that gets you drunk. It's the locomotive. It's not the caboose. You crave alcohol. There are times when you want to drink so badly, you can't think about anything else until you get one. That strong need or urge can be triggered by people, places, things, or times of day that remind you of drinking. Certain emotions or physical sensations can also trigger a craving. When you have a drinking problem, your brain reacts to these triggers differently than a social drinker's does. It sounds like you're an alcoholic with a thinking problem, doesn't it? You give up other activities. What is it that you do for fun besides drink alcohol? Think about the activities you used to enjoy, the issues that were important to you, and the ways you used to spend your free time. Has drinking edged those things out of your life or prevented you from doing them? Well, yes. I remember taking these quizzes earlier when, not that I was wondering, but I've taken quizzes because I'm curious. It's every single one that we check off. Do you drink to blackout? Yes. Do you crave alcohol? Yes. Do you find your tolerance for alcohol going up? Yes. Alcohol? Yes. Do you? Yes. It's like every single one of them is checked. Hey, Gods for Life. How's things? You're dropping the ball on life. Can you think of more than a few times when you came to work with a hangover, missed deadlines, or got behind on schoolwork because of your drinking? When your alcohol use, including being sick from drinking, often prevents you from keeping up with responsibilities at home, work, or school, it's a problem. Yes. However, that problem will be ignored. I've had a bottle of Smirnoff vodka in my locker on the flight line in the Navy. And when we would go wash jets way out in the middle of East Bumble, on the other side of the flight line, I took it with me. And my non-alcoholic buddies would enjoy maybe you know, if we're working night shift and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Maybe they'd enjoy it, but they wouldn't understand why I'd bring it in the next day as well. To them, that was a one and done thing. They're still feeling the hangover. I had started drinking that morning. You know what I mean? It causes friction in relationships. You care about your loved ones, but you can't imagine your life without alcohol. Your drinking has led to trouble with family or friends, or made problems worse, yet you continue to drink. This doesn't make you a bad person, but it does make you more urgent. It does make it more urgent to take a look for help to change your habits and get your relationships back on track. The thing about addiction, one of the definitions of addiction is you ignore the consequences of your behavior and they get worse and worse, and you continue your compulsive behavior. That's one of the most prevalent definitions of addiction is when the consequences outweigh the benefits and you continue the behavior anyway. Consequences get worse and worse. One time you were hungover at work. The next week you're drunk at work. You're basically ignoring both. Then you get fired from work and you can still continue to drink. That's ignoring consequences and continuing compulsive behavior. Michael says, whenever I try to drink now, I get sick within a few weeks. That will shorten. There were times in my life where I would take a drink of alcohol and get sick. My body was like, hell no, it's not coming in here. It's not coming in the stomach. It's not coming in the veins. It's not coming in anywhere. It would throw up. I would have to drink, try to hold it down, get it in my bloodstream before I threw up. We're talking dry heaving. So my point is, Michael, that few weeks will turn into 1 week. That 1 week will turn into 3 days. That 3 days will turn into 1 day. Before you know it, you just can't drink alcohol. But you do anyway. There's alcoholics, and this is incomprehensible. Then again, so is the disease. There's alcoholics that shoot it up their butt because they can't hold it in their stomach. They have messed up their bodies so much that they got to find another way in for it. Noah says, you know, the strangest thing, I've never thrown up from alcohol before, strangely enough. I don't know how I do enough to, I'd say, and every day if I can drink. If you continue to drink, that will change. Alcoholism is progressive. Even when you're not drinking, your alcoholism will be getting worse. Unless spiritually arrested by the program of Alcoholics Anonymous on a daily reprieve. When you're not practicing recovery, you are practicing alcoholism. That's just the way it is. What's up, Doug Reed? You have withdrawal. As the effects of alcohol wear off, you may have trouble sleeping, shakiness, irritability, anxiety, depression, restlessness, nausea, or sweating. Alcohol changes your brain chemistry, and when you drink heavily over a long period of time, your brain tries to adapt. If you suddenly stop drinking, your brain has to adjust again, causing these withdrawal symptoms. Those two are progressive. Early in my drinking days, a hangover was a hangover. The middle of my drinking years, a hangover was a little more than a hangover. It might be sweats, it might be shaking, you might have to go for the hair of the dog. Towards the end of my drinking career, that hangover was a grand mal seizure, to where I wake up on a stretcher and then throw up in a bucket that the paramedics gave me. Never heard of the butthole route? That's a part probably of the third stage of alcoholism, where your body is so deteriorated, but you still continue the compulsive behavior. The consequences have evolved into jaundice, maybe a colostomy bag, maybe total destruction of your stomach lining. You literally can't stomach alcohol, so you shoot it up your butt. I haven't been there. I haven't been to a lot of the third stages of alcoholism, thank God. But I got a taste of the third phase of alcoholism. Delirium tremens, seizures, wrecked life. You know, I got enough of a taste of it. The third stage of alcoholism also includes death. Physical death. You take the obsession for alcohol, you take it to the extreme limit, and you ignore the ultimate price, death, and just take it right there. I'm happy we all have an opportunity to discuss relatable maladies on this platform. Thank you, James, and all that participate in discussion. Butt stuff, I'm out. Probably. It's boofing. But yes, I mean, I'm sure that if that's how cunning, baffling, and powerful it is. You can't rule yourself out. Alcohol's got you by the balls. Alcohol's got you by the ovaries. You do what alcohol says. You are alcohol's bitch. Unless you arrest the malady with the spiritual program of Alcoholics Anonymous on a daily basis. You practice the principles in all of your affairs, and it don't touch you. You could have been hurt. While you're drunk, your brain doesn't grasp the short-term and big-picture results that could come from poor decisions and getting into risky situations like driving, swimming, fighting, having unsafe sex, or walking in a dangerous area. They just listed my my old life, by the way. Even if nothing bad has happened yet, this is a warning sign. Like I said, in the beginning, the consequences are palatable. Maybe you have a hangover. I used to think everybody blacked out. That's not true. I thought blackouts, according to the movies I watched, or chose to watch, or chose to remember, everybody who drinks can't remember their weekend. It's a sign of a good weekend. Blah, 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 blah. That's not true. Not everybody blacks out. There are people that drink alcohol that have never blacked out. I have lost, countless blackouts. Prolific came out a 3-day binge, been on and off with it for a couple years. Haven't had anything serious happen, but I'm scared as fuck when I hear about delirium tremens, the boogeyman of alcoholism. I have a couple videos on delirium tremens. Look them up after this if you'd like. Prolific. Thanks for sharing. They are scary. Hallucinating, shaking, no sleep, seizures. It is scary. Out of the seizures, depressing thoughts, and the DTs, which one was most terrifying you? Thanks. I forgot about the crazy thoughts. When you're in the grips of your alcoholism and the shit is crazy and DTs are on you, you are thinking some crazy stuff. Crazy, dark, demented, depressing, fear-inducing, terror. The 4 horsemen of alcoholism. The 4 hideous horsemen. Terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair. You talk about terror when the 4 horsemen of alcoholism, the 4 hideous horsemen of alcoholism are on you. Terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair, and they won't leave you alone. You tell me what's the scariest. Werner Keys is pretty awful. I forgot what Werner. Remind us what that is, Michael. Drank 4 bottles of whiskey in a few days, and I've seen your videos, so I'm shook. Well, how old are you, Prolific? How long have you been drinking? Excuse me, I gotta get this annoying dog. As we just read, prolonged heavy drinking changes your brain and body chemistry to where you will experience withdrawals in a fatal manner. Seizures, central nervous system disorders, stuff like that. However, if you're relatively young, prolific is 28, and I started when I was 25, 4 to 8 months breaks before I binge. So I had a seizure at the age of 31. I had been drinking since 14, and I'm talking, I think the first time I drank alcohol, I blacked out. I drank it till I blacked out. That was just how I drank. I was also on benzodiazepines, benzos, and booze. Prolific. I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not the guru of anything. But I will tell you my experience, and it is this. In my 20s, I had been drinking a lot since I was 14. To put it in perspective, my sister has said that you can't knock me down. If there's more booze, I'm gonna find it. She has tried to drug me with Xanax before to knock me down. She said, James, you just don't go down. So that's what I mean by a lot of drinking. I will be drinking, and as long as I'm conscious or not in handcuffs, and as long as there's booze, I'm going to consume it. So that is how much I drank. Now, 4 bottles of whiskey is a lot. However, I'm not a doctor. I know you're going to experience some discomfort, and I would definitely contact someone you love and hang on to them for dear life, because you're going to end up drinking again. That's how uncomfortable you'll feel. You're a binge drinking alcoholic. That was kind of me too. Those the breaks would be shorter and shorter, and the drinking binges would become longer and longer. So the human body is pretty resilient. DTs, the delirium tremens, they are part of the 3rd stage of alcoholism. Alcoholism is a spectrum as well. Not all alcoholics drink like other alcoholics, depending on your personality and the stage that you're in. If you're coming off of 4 bottles of whiskey in a few days, that's a lot. I'm going to say this. I'm no doctor, so take this with a grain of salt. But you're 28 years old and you don't drink 4 bottles of whiskey every 4 days for months on end. So you're going to have a hell of a hangover. You're going to want to drink the hair of the dog. Very little will stop you from it. Prolific, you're on day 4 sober and haven't had any effects besides I haven't been able to sleep for a couple nights, maybe like 2-3 hours of sleep. You're good. You're good. Do you have a fast metabolism or a slow one? AKA, do you gain fat weight easily? Can you eat whatever you want usually in your life and remain kind of skinny and muscular? Do you sweat when you sleep? That's a sign of a fast metabolism. You have a slow metabolism, so you might have a couple more days. However, you seem good. The key here is you don't drink steadily for long periods of time. Prolific. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I have experience with this stuff. Night, cats. So I would say you're good. Now, I'll tell you from my experience, my 3rd day of coming off of benzos and booze at the age of 30, and I had drank for like weeks on end, I started seeing black spots in my vision. I felt like I had a head injury. And then later that day, I had a grand mal seizure. I saw it coming and stuff. So I would say be very careful, and just, if anything weird starts happening, like an aura, epilepsy patients talk about an aura before they have a seizure. So I'm talking spots in your vision, loss of motor skills. Alcohol is heavy stuff, but the human body is very resilient. So, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so be very careful. But I would, if I was a betting man, which occasionally I am, I would bet heavy money on the fact that you are out of it. But that is not a medical recommendation, so take heed and use discretion. But with my metabolism, the first, second, and third days are the worst. Sometimes on the fourth day, I'm just over it. And by the fifth day, I'm good. Everybody's different, but also if you're 28 and you don't drink every day for years on end, the DTs will come later when you do start drinking every day for years on end. Like I said, alcoholism is progressive. Just because you go 4 or 5 months here and there now doesn't mean that's the way it's always going to be. If you don't address it with the spiritual program of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps, your alcoholism will progress, and the 4 hideous horsemen, terror, fear, bewilderment, and frustration, will be at your door. Terror. Well, terror is the same as fear. What are the 4 hideous horsemen of alcoholism? Terror, bewilderment, frustration, and despair. We'll be at your door, and you're going to answer because they got booze, and you're going to drink it, and they're going to be like, "Ha ha, gotcha." What's up, Alan? At my worst, I had extreme shakes from withdrawal and had a hard time walking from the anxiety and would cause my legs to tremble. I would drink just to avoid withdrawal. Yeah, and the irony of that is we don't have an off switch. So I can't tell you how many times I've said, I don't want to have DTs, so I'm going to wean myself off of booze by just drinking beer. Okay, well that beer turned into 2 30 racks. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's the irony, is that is part of the disease, the phenomenon of craving, the allergy that produces the phenomenon of craving. Noah, you're reading the big book. In the doctor's opinion, he talks about the phenomenon of craving. Drinking is making you sick. Do you continue to drink even though you know it's causing health problems or making those problems worse? Alcohol can damage your liver, heart, brain, pancreas, and immune system. It can raise your odds of getting certain cancers. Although you realize it's harming you, a physical or emotional dependence on alcohol can make quitting hard. These are, you might be an alcoholic, signs. Trying to explain to a non-alcoholic what alcoholism is like, there's one thing that makes it difficult, is that it's so unbelievable. Even we alcoholics don't want to believe that we're powerless over booze. We don't want to believe it. America will have you believe you can do anything you put your mind to. Well, America's full of shit. Alcoholism will take you to the gates of insanity or death before you even know what's happening. Terrified, prolific, good thing I'm on vacation from work, so if anything does happen in the next couple days. The worst thing that can happen is that you continue to drink. If you're on your 4th day without a drink, good for you. I would say tomorrow, go to an AA meeting. Just check it out. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. There's the meeting guide app on your phone. If you download it right now, you'll be my hero. There's also Everything AA. If you want to feel better about your problem of alcoholism, read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. I think it's the best-selling book in the world next to the Bible. Last night I was able to sleep for at least 6 hours. Right, and tonight will be better. What's up, Miss Ford? Having dinner with the family? Right on. What up, JV? How goes it? We're talking about the conversations that occur between alcoholics and non-alcoholics, the rifts between, and I'm also reading an article that's you might be an alcoholic if. Here's another one. You've gotten into legal trouble. If you've been arrested or had other run-ins with the law more than once because of your alcohol use, it's getting serious. You might be dealing with the fallout for this for years, but it's not too late to do something about. I heard an old timer say, he said, I didn't get in trouble every time I was drinking, but every time I got in trouble, I was drinking. Yep. Hey, Jem. Nearly 3 a.m. here. Do not go cold turkey. Cold turkey can be dangerous, especially if you're not a young man or woman anymore. Cold turkey can also be especially dangerous if you are in the second or third stages of alcoholism, where you have ignored the health, financial, and legal consequences and continue to drink heavily. Your tolerance has gone up, so you drink faster and you drink more, except you're not really paying attention to all this. It just kind of happens over the years, and you're drinking copious amounts at this point. Do not go cold turkey. ES has a point only if you're but it all depends, because it does depend on your metabolism, your tolerance, your age, stuff like that. But yes, neither ES or I am a doctor, so use discretion. But believe me this, you may be okay on your 4th or 5th day going cold turkey now at 28, but a short distance from now when you're 31, you may have a grand mal seizure like I did. Alcoholism is progressive, it is cunning, baffling, and powerful, and it will sneak up on you. Prolific. The consensus here is you're more or less good. You're a young man or woman. I think you're a man. But you still got to be careful with alcohol. It is the most deadly drug on earth. Kills more people yearly than all other drugs combined. If you don't believe me, look it up. This is another reason that non-alcoholics find it hard to comprehend the state of alcoholism. They don't experience the consequences. I barely even knew that alcoholism killed more people than all other drugs combined. And neither will a non-alcoholic. They'll be like, what, this? Nah. You know what I mean? ES says remember this feeling, and you will for a short stint, and then your built-in forgetter, which all alcoholics have, the one that when you're drinking for a long time, you forget how good it got when you're sober, and when you're sober for a long time, you forget how bad it gets when you're drinking. You want to stop but can't, another sign that you may be an alcoholic. Maybe you've been concerned enough that you've already thought about or actually tried to cut down on your drinking, and it didn't happen. Alcohol masks unhappy emotions, so those feelings may come back when you quit drinking, making it harder to stick to your goal. If you try to abstain but then obsess over alcohol or switch to another drug or behavior, that's a red flag. A lot of times we think we got it licked. We stop, we do it maybe for 4 months at a time, and the cunning, baffling, and powerful lawyer of alcoholism gets in your head. Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you could start smoking weed. Why don't you go to a titty bar? You don't have to drink. Just go. What you don't know is you're going to drink. You're going to that bar to drink. You don't know it yet. That's how cunning and baffling the disease is. Later on, maybe months go by and you're in jail. You take a look back and you're just like, why the hell didn't I know what I was doing? I was going to bars for weeks, months. I was listening to the same music. I started hanging out with the same drinking friends. And I thought I wasn't drinking, and I wasn't. But out of nowhere, why don't you go to the titty bar? The voice of that cunniling disease. Cunnilinguist? The cunning. It's cunnilinguist. It's baffling, seductive, and powerful. What to do? Any of these things could signal an alcohol problem. Don't feel bad, but do consider cutting back on drinking or quitting altogether. Wrong. If you are an alcoholic, cutting back on drinking is not an option. You are powerless over alcohol, period. You will either admit it now and be ahead of the game, or the disease will admit it for you. It's kind of like a guilty plea now, or your lawyer of a disease is going to admit a plea of guilty later. Cutting back on drinking is not an option for an alcoholic. This is coming from an alcoholic who has tried somebody name a way that you think is a good way to moderate your drinking and maybe change it up. For instance, if you're a liquor drinker, I've tried switching from liquor to beer. Somebody name a strategy that one might think would work. I will bet money that I've tried it. We have a disease that tells us we really don't have a disease. Exactly. In our own voice. I could read from the book, but I can remember some of the ways we have tried. Switching from liquor to beer, switching from beer to wine, drinking on the weekends only, not drinking on the weekends. Never drinking before work, never drinking at work. Drinking alone, never drinking alone. Only drinking on vacation, not drinking on vacation. No drinking during the work week, only drinking during the work week. It gets so ridiculous you start trying all kinds of stuff. Intermittent drinking. Once the drink hits your veins, no drinking before 5 p.m. I've tried all these. Here's the thing about that. You will obsess about 5 p.m. Every hour of the day before 5 p.m., you're still obsessed with it. It got to the point where I wouldn't drink until I got off of work, which was around 4 as I was an electrician. It got to the point where I started leaving work early and then skipping work. Lo and behold, I don't have that job anymore. I had quit the job altogether because I'd rather smoke weed and drink. So that's kind of how that worked for me. Drinking on alternate Tuesdays or during Toyotathon. I tried it. I tried that one. I still have, the calendar. No, I didn't drink that. I didn't try that one. I didn't think of that one. Maybe that's the one, man. Maybe that's the one. You know what? I think that's the one. I'm going to try that one. Only drinking at parties, not drinking at parties. Never drinking during the day. Only drinking during the dark hours. At first it was I'm going to only drink during the weekend. That was the early stages of my alcoholism, late teens, early 20s. I only drink during the weekend. Well, those Mondays and Thursdays turn into the weekend pretty cunningly. It just slips right in. All of a sudden, your weekends is Thursday through Monday. Then Tuesdays and Wednesdays are on the docket. Before you know it, your whole week is a weekend. Because you have already quit or gotten fired from your job, you're drinking every day. And you don't know how it happened. It baffles you. Tuesday and Wednesday, you know what I mean? I mean, look at the society we live in. We got thirsty Thursdays. Wednesdays are ladies' night or whatever, so you're going to the bar on Wednesdays. Monday, you need the hair of the dog, you know what I'm saying? It's the beginning of the work. I need something to take the edge off. Tuesday, the all elusive Tuesday. What is going to be the excuse for Tuesday? Fat Tuesday? You know what I'm saying? Well, Tuesday's after Monday, and nobody likes Tuesdays anyway, so you might as well drink. 2 for Tuesday. You know what I mean? Monday night football. Yeah, Miss Ford, I only drank in the days that ended in Y. Drinking on the holidays, not drinking on the holidays, never drinking around your family, only drinking during family reunions. Titty bar Tuesday. You start making shit up. And God forbid, bro, I don't even know my longest binge. I think my longest binge was when I got out of the Navy in 2006 till about, I was 27 at the time. Well, I can't say that because I was in a coma for 3 months. But I think my longest binge was my 30s. So in a sober life, what time should I try to go to bed? These are all things you learn about yourself as you grow and mature as an individual. Here's something. When we have drank, we had stopped growing. We stopped growing emotionally. We stopped growing. So while you're sober, the pain that you feel, the emotional setbacks, these are all growth. So you're going to have to learn. That's what the 12 steps are for. The 12 steps, very little. The word alcohol is only in the first half of the first step. The rest is learning how to live. Trying to go to bed. What time should you go to bed? These are questions that normal people face that we just haven't faced yet. But you'll get it. You literally learn how to live. You'll start to get in the swing of life. I heard a saying today, if you're too busy to go to AA meetings, you're too busy, period. All these questions, and as many as 2 more, will be answered in Alcoholics Anonymous. You go to Alcoholics Anonymous meeting, they say, before I say a topic, does anyone have a burning desire or a question? You say, hey, I'm fucking Noah, still an alcoholic. How do I know when to go to bed when I stop drinking? For the next hour, you're going to hear seasoned recovering alcoholics and maybe even some you'll hear experience, it seems like, from around the world. Here's when I go to bed. Here's what I do when I go to bed. This is what, blah, 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 blah. You'll probably get some laughs. You know what I mean? The home of the alcoholic is in Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. That's where an alcoholic is home. There is not a single question that will go unanswered. It might take a minute to find the right one to suit you, but you will find everything you need in the rooms and in the book of Alcoholics Anonymous. How are you enjoying the book? Did you start it from the beginning? My favorite part is the doctor's opinion, because with no holds bars, a very wise, articulated doctor is just like, you may trust every word of what these people say in this book, because as a physician that has treated drug abuse and alcoholism for decades, I still have yet to wrap my head around it. These people have found a solution, and you may trust everything that this book has to say. Period. Dr. William D. Silkworth. And then there is the chapter, There is a Solution. That's what brought me back to the rooms this time. Was I was pacing around my house, out of my mouth was coming, what's the solution? Why am I so miserable? What's the solution? What's the solution? Well, I had remembered there's a chapter called There is a Solution, and I went to read it and fell back in love with Alcoholics Anonymous. But these are valid questions, Noah. Your sober life is yours to be discovered, and it's one of the joys of getting sober is you have begun to grow again. Stopping drinking isn't the end, it's the beginning. And you'll know this, and as you begin to wake up and see and be amazed at the program. Prolific, I've put together years and years before, 1 year here, 18 months there, 8 years before May of 2023, and I relapsed for about 6 months and ended up quitting November 30th. 2023 is my new sobriety date. And I have also found a God of my understanding, and that was the final piece of the puzzle. I've been going to AA now for probably 15 years. Which, don't get discouraged. That's not everybody. I happen to have a learning disability called ADHD and alcoholism. It's a common story. The book, we don't read the book reads us. The stuff I read in the book now, I read at 20 years ago and just didn't get it. I don't know what was, it takes what it takes, unfortunately, which is just a bastard of a kick in the what's about alcoholism, but it takes what it takes, and don't leave until the miracle happens. Don't leave until you get it. Keep coming back is a word. Meeting makers make it is a word. Bat Country, that guy's an amazing storyteller. Yeah, sure. I'm currently looking for a job. I've talked about it before, but doing the channel involves a lot of focus and a lot of organizational skills that I personally don't have. I would rather do these live streams, help as many people. If I can help one person in my entire life, that will be worth it. But as far as setting up interviews and stuff like that, it takes a lot for this guy with ADHD. It also takes a lot for those who don't have it. You can only do a half an hour of a Zoom session without paying for Zoom. Stuff like that. There's more to it than you. But, tell him to interview me. Or wait, I don't know. If it's in the cards, it'll happen. That's what I've learned. Prolific, I have stories on this channel, over 100 videos, over 600 videos. What if you had someone doing the organizing and stuff for you? Yeah, well, I've often thought about teaming up, but then I'd have to pay that person. And the most I've ever gotten from this channel in 5 years, when it was pumping on all cylinders, was like $500 a month. So making a team, organizing a team. I mean, ask Holly. I'm sure there's others of you that I've been like, hey man, you want to team up and make a YouTube channel? But then the very next afternoon, I'm like, what? Yeah, I forgot. I forgot I was so motivated. Stopping drinking is not the end, it's the beginning. You like that, Bonnie? It is true. Drinking stunts your growth emotionally, probably physically too, but definitely emotionally. You don't mature. So I started drinking at 14 and pretty much on and off and pretty much steady drank until I was fucking, excuse my language, 43. So I woke up, now I'm relearning how to, go to a Christmas party. Because when I was a teenager, I was supposed to learn those things, but I just drank instead. You know what I mean? The Venture Forward, John Venturini's channel, check it out. My dude has conquered everything from, well, he can tell you. And he probably will tell you he hasn't conquered it. It's a daily reprieve. But yeah, it is the beginning. Quitting drinking is not the end. It is the beginning. If you do it a day at a time, before you know it, you got 10 years sober, and they've been the best 10 years of your life. And you've survived everything from, your sister dying from a heroin overdose to even, all the worst has happened, all the best has happened. What did the content of the comment contain? Prolific, how long have you been sober was the last comment I saw. Oh. Well, Noah, I'm glad you're reading the book. That book is serious. The Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. If you can't afford one, they'll give you one at an AA meeting. If you don't want to do that because you still think you know what you want, you can, which I did and every alcoholic does, think that we know what we want. We have to give our will over to a power greater than ourselves. I just realized that the most important part of that is actually realizing that there's a power greater than my thoughts and my will. Oh, TikTok. Yeah, you might not want to say TikTok. YouTube will get mad at you. It was about switching to TikTok lives. Yeah, bro. I mean, like I said, I'm sick of working from my house. I have to get out. I applied for a job as a bellhop today to a bohemian hotel that if they call me tomorrow and they say you're a bellhop now, you're going to be looking at one happy alcoholic and recovering alcoholic. You're going to be looking at a one happy dude because I got September is when the classes for my peer support specialist certification can be taken underway. I'm looking at September. November 30th, I will be 1 year clean and sober from booze. Like I said, I put together 8 years before. It's one of the reasons how I know about what works and what doesn't work. But until then, I got to get out of my house. So I'd love to be a bellhop at a bohemian hotel. I cannot work from my house anymore prolific. Sure, TikTok and all that. I have a TikTok channel. I have, some videos on there. I have gone all cylinders on content creation, but it is not really prolific. Let me see. What's it called? Prolific on TikTok? Well, dude, that's what they said about YouTube. It's great money and stuff. You know what I mean? The Bohemian. It's just the name of a hotel. That's pretty cool. But it's on a river. It's pretty cool. But what's your name on TikTok, Prolific? Prolific is your @. Yeah, bro, I understand what you mean. You're making 4K a month. Wow. What are you talking about? Politics or something? Maybe I'll try it. I don't know. If it's in the cards, I'll try it. But let me tell you something. If you're making 4K a month, no joke and no exaggeration, then I'll for sure do that shit. But I doubt you can just make 4K a month just like that. You're a Warzone creator. Oh, so video games? All I know is I don't want to work from my home anymore, you know what I mean? And I also know that all that glitters is not gold, you know what I mean? Just because you make 4K on TikTok doesn't mean I can jump on there and make 4K. But I mean, I'll check it out. Streaming on TikTok. Maybe. I really honestly just want to get back into normalcy. I saw a very wise spiritual meme today. Spiritual video of a spiritual guy talking, and he was talking about what I was talking about yesterday. One of the worst things that can keep you away from your spiritual awakening is continuing to try and be special. Unique, special, better than. And since I've dropped the whole obsession to be special, to be a YouTuber and I've been a lot less. I've been a lot less stressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, my ego has been pushing me to be special all my life. Like, it's probably kept me from being in a relationship. It's probably kept me from my greatest potential. Because my ego has been so obsessed with being special. Being more than the average. You know what I'm saying? Like, who do I think I am? It has kept me away from my spiritual awakening. I thought I was so special I had figured out why there really isn't a God. Who the hell? What do I know? I mean, the ridiculousness of who I thought I was. It's like, do you have any idea who I think I am? Who do you think I think that you think you're talking to? It's pretty ridiculous. I'm not sure, Noah. It's a sign that we should get out of here, though. I'll be here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope I get a life soon because I've been going nuts. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. I do enjoy this life, though, this part of my life where I get to talk to you fine folks and maybe put a little something into society and get some back too. That's, but I was thinking, you know what? I'm special. We're not special, man. You know what I mean? Special? There's like 1% special on this earth. Stephen Hawking was special. Elon Musk, special. I'm not saying good. I'm not saying bad. I'm saying there's 1%ers that are special. Abraham Lincoln was special. Martin Luther King was special. You know what I mean? Not the 8.6 billion rest of us. We all running around thinking with our opinions that makes us special. Listen, if I can help somebody, that's what I'm going to be on my deathbed thinking I was, thinking that was special enough. I don't have to be a self-paid YouTuber. I don't have to be a self-paid TikTok guy. I'll play it. Yeah, ES, they're weirdos. They're special. Weird is special. Special is weird. They're basically synonyms. You know what I mean? You can't really be special without being weird and vice versa. All right, good night, Noah. I'm proud of you, man. Keep reading that big book. It's got a lot of wow factor. Good on you for taking some steps, bro. I'm proud of you. And don't worry about tomorrow. Today, one day at a time. Just don't drink today. Any day that is today, just don't drink. And on that note, I'll see all y'all special mofos tomorrow. And until then, keep it clean, keep it real, keep doing the damn thing. That's my special sign out line. Peace.